Hello and welcome to another Casually Reviewed. Today we are reviewing Slan by A.E. Van Voigt. I don't know if that's how I pronounce his name. I'm just going to go with that. As I explained, I am terrible at pronunciation. So, what is Slan about? Well, it is a classic sci-fi story about a race of highly evolved successors to humans, kind of like the new types in the Gundam series, except that this is practically a new species altogether. The Sluns are not only mind readers, psychics, that kind of deal, but they are super fast, super strong, and super intelligent. In addition, their aging cycle is completely different. So, is it good? Yes, it is very good. I highly recommend reading this sci-fi story. A little bit of backstory for why I picked it up. I'm a huge fan of Berserk, and I wanted to see, all the works that the God Hand was named after. Obviously, this is the incredibly sexy Slan's namesake. Um, I'm just gonna start cleaning my pipe while I am recording this. So, anyway, what makes this so good and worth checking out? Well, for one thing, the characters are actually really well written. In particular, our main character, Jami. Now, he is a child when this story starts, and yet he is every bit as clever as an adult who is well into his 30s. That creates for a very interesting dynamic. You see, in this world, Slans are basically prejudiced against as any evolved race would be in any sci-fi work. Um, hmm, it's pretty black. But with their superior intellect, they are able to cleverly disguise themselves. Now, Jami has the appearance of, I believe it is a 10-year-old boy when the story starts. As it goes on, of course, he uses that to his advantage. I'm trying to avoid plot details here, so it's not exactly making an analysis of this easy. Mostly because I want people to read this, but I don't want to spoil it. Oh, shit. Let's see here. So, what is the tone of the story like? Well, it is very much. God, how do I put this? It's very much suspenseful, you know. Not in the way that, you can't tell what's coming around the corner or it's really dreadful. It's more the story of the hunter versus the hunted. And while there is per se a character who could pose as the hunter, it's not really as much of an immediate threat. It's more about Jami trying to hide and, get revenge for the death of his parents. Not going to explain why that happens or who does it. But anyway, it basically goes over a period of, I believe it was 10 years of his life or so, and explains how he, goes about things and how he creates a place for himself in this world, as well as explains, what's going on that this new race of, well, the Slan are coming about and what their future will be like. It's very interesting. There's a few plot twists, basically par for the course. The one negative thing I can say about the story is the pacing is a bit off. Granted, this was originally published in a sci-fi magazine in, I believe it was, let me look at the date here. I think it was the 1940s. Yes, 1940 exactly, I think is when this was first published. Those good old sci-fi pulpy serials. Those magazines that run those kinds of stories are actually still going. I worked at a bookstore for a little while and, we sold them. So, anyway, that part of it makes for a bit of an interesting dynamic because it does jump around a lot, but it still manages to keep a coherent narrative going with several good characters. Now, as for the actual futuristic aspects, an interesting part of the story is that, at this time, mass production of plastic was becoming a lot more common, and they have entire cities in this story that are made out of plastic, which is one of those really interesting aspects of reading old science fiction, is what they thought the future would be like. I can't really tell if this is supposed to be the 21st century, but it's far enough along as the timeline of the book would have it that we would already be living in plastic cities right now if this had come true. So, anyway, highly recommend this book. Check it out. Casual review done.